Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about Kobold Quarterly issue number 15, which is a role-playing magazine. Now, I have very little interest in role-playing magazines at this point in life. I was a subscriber to The Dragon from issue 27 all the way up through the last print edition. And I bought quite a few issues of Dungeon as well. But I kind of moved past that. With lots of blogs out there, lots of message boards, if I'm looking for content, I can usually find it quickly and easily without investing in a magazine. And I've never been a big lover of PDF magazines. But I heard over on 3.5 Private Sanctuary, one of my favorite gaming blogs and favorite gaming podcasts, that the guys that do the podcast, one of them had written Ryan Costello Jr. had written an article about variant Pathfinder druids, and I like the druids in Pathfinder, and I'm a really big fan of variant rules. And in particular, I was intrigued because it was said that he had done the shape-shifting variant of a druid, and it was done the way it should have been. Intriguing. I was still hesitant to buy the issue, however, because the magazine does hold for 4th edition content, and I am loath to give a single cent for any 4th edition content. But I can't just buy the article I wanted, so I had to buy the whole thing. So I dropped $6 and got myself a PDF, which I then printed out so that I could look at it. So I just finished taking a look at it last week, and now I can bring my thoughts to you. So the reason I got the magazine, which is that there were 3 variant druids. The first is the shape-shifting version. Now, this is a fairly significant departure from your standard druid, as opposed to the shape-shifting variant from Player's Handbook 2 in the core rules. That got a different wild shape ability, but pretty much everything else in the class stayed the same. Well, this is significantly different in the fact that the druid gets no spell casting of any kind. But you can adopt, at first level, at will, a animal-based attack. And as you go up in levels, you get more animal-based attacks. Until eventually you can, I think, have as many as 3 different animal-based attacks, and a pair of claws counts as 1. So you can have a bite, 2 claws, and a tail sting, for example, all at your maximum BAB. So that's a pretty good thing. You get wild shape at 3rd level as opposed to 4th. And you also get to pick up upgrades to your animalistic characteristics. For example, a grab. There's a grab variant option. There's a rake, a rend, a poison for your bite or your sting attack, things like that. And I think it really presents an interesting shape-shifting version. I'm still not sure that it's what I would personally consider to be as it should be done. I'm still leaning more towards something that lets you have true shapes at 1st level all the way up through 20th. And that makes Shapeshift, the 9th level spell, superfluous. I haven't seen that yet. Maybe I will someday. The second variant is an elemental-based druid, where you get a spontaneous casting, more spells, but you only get 4 domains, 1 of each element, so you have a very limited spell list. Other than that, it's an interesting idea, and I think it would be a nice variant if you went with an Asian, a Chinese version, where instead of earth, air, water, and fire, you had air, water, fire, wood, and metal. I think that would be interesting. And the last is a variant druid, which is all about fighting undead. So you get no shape, you get no wild shape abilities, but you do get to adopt some clerical healing and channel energy abilities, positive in both of those, which let you battle undead more effectively. Which is a good idea, because let's face it, undead is probably the most horrible thing that someone who worships nature can think of. So it makes perfect sense. It's a natural fit, if you'll pardon the pun, for a druid to want to hunt down and destroy undead. Then we have the Ecology of the Giant Ant, which talks about the giant ant in general, and some nice variant giant ants based off of real-world ants. I think the nice article in there. Pits of Despair, which is a really nice article about pit traps. And there was one in there which was particularly creepy because it deals with a pit that's lined with writhing corpses. I thought that was very nice. That made me smile. Collaborative Killers, which is how to use groups to give each other a bonus for attacking in a mass against a single target. And I like this article because it achieves some of the things that tactical feats have achieved in the core rules in the past, but I've never liked tactical feats because feats are precious, precious things. And asking people to spend them to get a bonus that will only happen under certain very restricted circumstances, I think is asking people to squander a feat. Whereas these options in here are just straight application of skills and existing abilities. Children of the Wood, which talks about Woodland Magic for Pathfinder, a woodland-based sorcerer bloodline, some stuff for the cleric, and an option for a woodland-based wizard. So that was kind of interesting. And Going Vertical, which is using a side view dungeon, like the old 8-bit side-scroll dungeon kind of thing, which I guess is an interesting idea, but I can't see myself ever having interest in that. Maybe you'll find it fascinating. A Monty Cook article about simulating game reality, an interview with Margaret Wise, and some book reviews, and a bit about the free city of Zobek, the Cartways. And the Cartways are tunnels underneath a city, or the city of Zobek, but it could be used elsewhere, for transporting foods and firewood and bodies and what have you. Basically keeping all the things that are unpleasant and unkempt underneath the streets so that people on the surface who live in affluent neighborhoods don't have to deal with them. It's a lot like what Disney does in our era. They do the same thing. Nice article. I thought it was quite good. So, if any of these things sound interesting, I do recommend you go get yourself a copy of Kobold Quarterly number 15. And particularly if you really enjoy Druids, the article by Ryan Costello Jr. is excellent.